Well, good afternoon. I'm Rick Dancer. Welcome to the Buck Stops here. Our guest today is Michelle Price with Hyperawareness Janitorial.
Professional cleaning.
They do
Close.
everything. I mean, they clean houses, they clean floors, they clean Kiefer Mazda, medical buildings, tons of medical buildings. So that's really what they do. But that's not the story today. This is the Buck Stops here, sponsored by Buck Sanitary Service. And Scott Weld over there loves to do this because I was online. When was that? You would know.
It was January 8th.
And I was online, and Michelle comes on, and I've known her for a long time. And she comes on and says, "This is my anniversary for being clean from methamphetamine." And I was stunned because I'm going, "Oh my gosh, I have this picture of a meth addict."
Right.
And it wasn't you.
Right.
And so I said, "Oh my God, I have to talk with her." And so we've been working this all out and stuff. And thank you for coming in here. And I think it's really brave of you.
Thank you.
So you were addicted to meth kind of tell me how this happened.
Oh gosh, it was kind of happenstance. I went out with some friends, typical story, going out with some friends, and we were bowling one night, and someone brought out some meth, and I did a line of it, and I was hooked very first time.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
What is it about
Right.
it? What is it about methamphetamine that is so addictive? Because it's really rare to find someone like you
Right.
that gets off
Right.
of it. That really, really kicks it.
Right. It makes you feel initially, the hook is it makes you feel like you can do anything. You've got this hyper awareness, hyper alertness, this feeling of just kind of like you're a superhuman, that you can pull off anything. You can stay awake for a long time. You don't eat for a long time. You just kind of go, and it's just, I don't know.
And then when did it start turning really bad?
It didn't take too long for it to start to turn really bad, really. I mean, once the addiction starts, that's where your money goes. That's where all your time is spent. And then you realize that, you're kind of wasting away. You're hiding from your loved ones because of the shame. There's just a gamut of things that start happening that really
Now, did you have married children, anything like that going on at this time?
Right. So 18 was when I started, and then right around, well, I got pregnant with my son, and he was the one thing that got me sober. So it was like once I found out I was pregnant, I stopped. And so one of the things that happened was I gained a lot of weight. I gained about between 80 and 90 pounds with my pregnancy. And so you can imagine that was pretty devastating to my self-esteem.
Right.
But I loved my son enough, obviously, to do that. And then when I had my son, with struggling with that battle of the weight afterwards, I knew in my mind as an addict that I knew exactly how to get that weight off again.
Right.
And so I turned back to the meth.
And that was your diet plan then?
And that was my diet plan, exactly. It wasn't that I, expected that I was going to, become an addict again and throw my life down the tubes kind of thing. It was, we started partaking together at that point. And then we kind of hit our rock bottom. And it was that point that, I knew that I couldn't be the mother that my son deserved. And so I sent him to Oregon to be with my mother. At that time, I fully intended, that I was going to get my act together, that I was going to, get him back, and we were going to be a family again. And it was my mom who recognized that I was in a pretty bad situation, and So she actually filed for legal adoption of my son. And at the time I was quite angry. But
So she ended up getting your son from you because if you were an addict.
Right.
God, that's just got to be so hard.
Yeah. And so that was,
But thank God she did that.
Exactly. And I really believe, that everything had it not been for that situation, my son would not be where he is today. He's getting ready this Sunday to do his senior recital at the University of Oregon. He's a very accomplished pianist and classical composer, and he'll walk in June for his graduation. And it's just, the things that he's been provided. I could not have provided those things for him as an addict. And so while I still carry a lot of guilt, I still work on forgiving myself.
Right. Is that like a daily thing?
I don't think so anymore. My son has forgiven me, and we've worked on our relationship quite a bit. So it's one of those things where every once in a while I feel like, I still, I recognize the guilt's there. I recognize that, could have, should have, would have type thing. But then I also have to go back to the belief that, in my faith, that everything happens for a reason. And while, I don't know, if I had to do it all at that point, I was at my rock bottom. But in another way, I was like, wow, I'm not going to lose this opportunity to, I'm not going to turn my back on my son again.
Right.
And so it was pretty much a no-brainer. And I came to Oregon on January 8th. And so that was 9 years this year. So next year it'll be 10 years of a decade. Yeah.
So what do you say to people out there who are addicted, whether it's meth or whatever? But I think meth is such a hard one for people that I think they think they'll never get off of it. And it's pretty rare that happens like what you've done.
Right. I think that for those struggling and just not to give up hope. There's always hope. And if you want something bad enough, you can do anything.
Did you go to treatment and all that?
I did. When I got here, I was a tyrant. I was so angry. I was raised in a very religious household, and I was raised with the belief that I was supposed to be holy, and that that I was supposed to be perfect, and I wasn't.
Welcome to humanity,
right?
huh?
I had these expectations that I was supposed to be perfect, but the expectations, those were what I had planted in my head, and so I got really angry at religion, and I got really
you get mad at God.
I got so mad at God, so mad at God, especially when I got to the point where, there were a lot of points when I got mad at God. A lot of things that I just didn't understand that happened to me in my anger. It helped. I don't really know how to go from there. I mean,
right. But you got the help that you needed.
Yeah. So going back to that. When I got here, my mom had some connections with a wonderful woman named Tina Novak. She.
I know Tina Novak.
Do you? Okay. So at the time, she had a place called the Hope House, and I did not know that I was going to be going to the Hope House, but I was very combative, and all of the things that anyway. So
you're happy.
I am. I think that I think that life is a road to it's a long road finding happy, and
it's a journey, and it's not about getting done.
Right.
You're always working on yourself.
Oh,
Don't
for
you
sure.
think? All of us.
For sure.
And I think so many people think I'm going to arrive. It's like, give it up. The arrival is when you're done.
Exactly. And when I got clean from methamphetamines, I turned to food, and then I found strength sports, and so that's my new addiction.
What's that? Are you like a power, huh? There's some of us that just have addictive personalities, don't you think?
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, I know I do, and I
Yes.
have to be really careful.
Yeah.
But you find find something healthy to addict yourself to, rather than something. So when you go back and look at what was meth covering up for you? Do you know?
Oh gosh, I think the very, very strict religion. I'm not going to say what religion it is because I don't want to offend anyone, but
Right.
Being raised in that environment, and just the expectations, like I said, that I felt like I had to meet, that I had to be holy, that
you could never meet that expectation.
Right.
So sometimes
Right.
your religion sets up these expectations that we can't meet because they're not really God's expectations.
Right.
They're man's expectations.
Exactly.
And so then we fail, and we blame God. And so
Right.
that's what you did. And now you're back, and we're not trying to be overly religious people. That's
No.
not the whole point here.
No.
This is just the fact. This is a story,
Yeah.
and that's what it is.
Yeah.
And I did not know that. That's
Love you guys.
We all have our roles to play in our family. You guys, I know the connection's going off and on, but when this gets to full to the piece, it'll be one long thing on the show. So you can go back and rewatch everything if you're missing little pieces of it, because I know our signal's kind of weird today. Ever since the snowstorm, my signal's been odd here. But so Michelle, what I hate giving advice, but I also cannot let somebody like yourself, you're an expert at this. At least you know more than many of us do. What's the advice? I mean, really, just from your heart, what would you say?
Yeah, just, I don't know, for addicts or loved ones of addicts. I mean,
both.
Just both. Don't give up. Don't just value yourself enough to know that you're worth more than an addiction. You're worth more than throwing your life away. There's always another way. And while there are fewer resources, here in Lane County, there are resources available, and, find someone to talk to, whether it's a faith-based meeting or a non-faith-based meeting. Find one. They're all over the place. Just show up and realize that you're worth it.
And to the family, the same thing.
Exactly.
They're worth it.
Exactly.
And they may treat you like crap. And
Right.
they may yell at you and scream
Right.
at you, but just keep on them.
Absolutely. Just keep pushing. Not too hard, but don't give up hope. And I think that's the key is faith and hope. Whether like I said, whether you have faith or whether you see it as hope, keep one or the other in your pocket and don't lose the hold of that. Yeah.
So those of you just turned in, it's Michelle Price. She's a prominent businesswoman in town with Hyperawareness, and she wrote on her page in January that she was clean for 9 years. She was an addict for 18, methamphetamine, and I called her up and said, we have to do a show, please. So this is sponsored by Buck Sanitary Service, Scott Weld over at the Buck Stop, and this is called The Buck Stops Here, and this is perfect because the buck really does stop here.
Right.
And thank you for doing that.
Absolutely.
Anything else you need to say? I don't want to. Okay, you guys, so take this, share it on your page, because you do not know who is in your life that's struggling with, and meth is not the only addiction. There's alcohol, there's pain pills, there's food.